What is up, everybody? Today I'm going to be doing my 2025-2026 FPV drone gift guide. I have stuff for beginners. I have stuff for people that are already in the hobby. I have some FPV wing stuff, and I have some stuff for like cinematic photography drones. So sit down, relax, and this will be a good one. I've been flying for about a year and a half now, and FPV is such a fun hobby. It's like the best hobby I've ever been involved in, and I hope to share that with you today. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen here and kind of walk you through. I have an Excel sheet that I'll share with you guys in the description. Feel free to follow along or just skip straight there if you want to skip the video. But I'm going to start with some beginner FPV stuff and then kind of move my way along. So if you're interested in getting into FPV, the best way to start is to get a controller and to get a simulator and just see if it's like something that you're even interested in. And that way, I highly recommend just getting a RadioMaster Pocket, which RadioMaster Pocket ELRS version, which is a great controller. It'll work with simulators or like FPV drone games on your computer. You can plug in there and play. And then I'd recommend putting 5 to 10 hours in a simulator before you actually like get a real drone. It's crashing in a simulator is free and easy, and it's like a great way to learn. And then you can actually get a real drone later on, or get a drone at the same time, but at least put a few hours in before you get playing. So I definitely recommend starting with a RadioMaster Pocket, which is an awesome controller. I like it so much that I have two. It is a great controller. I've been flying with it for about a year and a half now, so it's been great for me. I got a second one to fly with friends. So awesome little controller, everything that you need, and it works with simulators and it works with drones. So perfect. Lots of people like Velocidrone. Lots of people like Liftoff. Those are some paid ones. You can find some of these. I think Liftoff is on Steam. There's also lots of free simulators that you can get. Then once you have a controller and some sim practice, then you're ready to get a tiny whoop, in my opinion, and some goggles. So let's move on to that. And actually, I'm going to backtrack for a quick second. And if you know for sure that you're going to be into FPV, one good way to get started with it is just a kit where it sells the controller, the drone, and the goggles all in one. Usually the goggles and the controller that come with these types of things aren't going to be as good. You might kind of outgrow them, or they might not be, they might not be forever tools for you. For example, I love this drone here, but I don't love the goggles or the controller that comes with, but it gets you in the air and it's a great little thing. So honestly, for $300, for example, for this one, this is an analog drone, great way to get started. There's also, I haven't tried this one, but a lot of people are really excited about the Caddx FPV Protos, which is supposed to be marketed as a beginner drone, goggles, and controller set. It's only 360, and it's an HD system, so pretty solid way to go there. But I didn't do it that way, and I didn't get a kit, and so I'm gonna just kind of walk you along with how I would go about it if I wasn't going to do a kit, which might be the best way to go anyway. So you have your RadioMaster Pocket, you have some sim time. Let's get some goggles. So you have to choose a video system. So you have to choose analog, HD0, walk snail, or DJI. I highly recommend for beginners, and especially people that are on a budget, go with analog. It's the cheapest. It's also very durable, easy to get parts for, easy to replace, all around. It's great. The only drawback is the video quality isn't as good, but I just think it's great. Plus, it's still good for video quality, and plus the analog is super great for flying with small drones. I'd say analog is still king of tiny whoops. So if you're interested in like the very most budget, one of the most budget ways to go about it is to get the Eachine EV800Ds. These are the goggles that I started out with, and I was very happy with them. They had recording, had auto scan for different channels. You could easily connect to your drone. It's just very easy to plug in and use, and I was very happy with it. So these are goggles that are great. Downsides are they're like kind of big and uncomfortable, or a little bit uncomfortable, and some people don't like the box style goggles as compared to something like some HD0 goggles, which are quite a bit thinner, and they have like a lens for each goggle, for each eye. So these are like a box style goggle, which is cheaper, and that's what you're getting into. So a great way to get in the air. I eventually moved on from them, but a great way to get in the air. And the next thing I have is the goggles that I actually have myself. These are the HD0 goggles, the version 1. And I have them with an analog expansion module and an analog receiver, so I can fly my analog drones on them. So this is a great, honestly, super great goggle. You'll have to buy it used, but all in, a great way to go. I find them very comfortable and they're awesome. Another thing that you could, if you have a little bit more money and really want to get into it, you can get the HD0 goggles 2, which has an analog module built already in. So all you'd have to do is buy this, and then you can fly HD0 and you can fly analog right off the bat. And these goggles also have an HDMI in. So if you're interested in flying walk, snail, ever, a great way to also, you can do that with HD0 goggles. So honestly, I love HD0 goggles. I think they're a great way to go. Some people also like the Skyzone goggles. These are the slightly older Skyzone O2s. I think the O4s are out now. A lot of people will say that they love these goggles. I haven't used them, but I've heard good things about them. Okay, so you've chosen some goggles and controller, and actually going back to the goggles for one more second, I think that people think that they have the misconception that you need to spend the most money on your drone, and I actually think the biggest impact and what will have the most bang for buck on your experience will be your goggles, actually. So I highly recommend not cheaping out on goggles. You can cheap out on controller, that's fine. Don't cheap out on goggles, and then just get a budget drone. I think that's like a really, really great way to go. So as I mentioned before, the Emax Nano Scout is an awesome little drone. I have one myself. As you can see, it's just like covered in dirt. It's been taped together and stuff, but it's still kicking, and it's a really fun little drone. I highly recommend this one. I think it's one of the best beginner drones because it's very durable. It doesn't like overheat badly. My flight controller and video transmitter are doing great after having a bunch of batteries put through it, which can't be said for some other drones. For example, I've heard bad things about the Beta FPV Air 65, which is super popular and I think a lot of fun to fly, but people say that sometimes you only get like 30 to 50 batteries out of it before the flight controller like gives out on you, which is definitely not something that you want if you're like first getting into the hobby. So I highly recommend the Nano Scout, an excellent drone for, it's a little bit heavier, but it's going to be super durable for you and very easy to use. The Mobula 6 is actually the drone that I very first started with. I liked it a lot, flew it a bunch, eventually it died on me. I like it a lot. So, trade off versus the Nano Scout, I think it's going to be a little bit less durable, but a little bit lighter, and so maybe a little bit more fun to fly, and kind of easier to fly, more nimble, things like that. So a great way to start. If I was to get another drone, I've heard lots of great things about the newbie drone Hummingbird. Here it is. So there's a Hummingbird, and then there's also a race spec version of this one. If I was interested in getting another drone, I might get the race spec. That's like, seems like an awesome little drone. I haven't flown myself. The only thing I've heard bad sides are sometimes the VTX I've heard is not great. You could always upgrade that later if you wanted to by adding a second one on if you really had to. I also have heard great things about the Beta FPV Meteor 75 Pro. I actually have a bit of a Meteor 75 Pro build myself. It's a custom build video on my channel for a 2S custom build for this thing. So it's not really the like components or internals of a true Meteor 75, and it's got twice as much battery, so it's a little bit more powerful, but a great little drone for flying around, I think. Super, super fun. So overall, my recommended picks for a beginner just getting started out, I'd recommend get Rainmaster Pocket, and you'll need to get some 1860-50 batteries to go along with it. Get the Emax Nano Scout, and then get goggles of your choice. If you're on a budget, maybe get some Ishins, or if you're not on budget, maybe get some HD0s. It's a great way to get going in this hobby. And I'm going to take a quick sidestep to throw my email out there, charlottesville.drone@gmail.com. Feel free to email me if you have questions about any of this stuff. I'd be very happy to help anybody into the hobby that I can. I love helping people, and a lot of people have helped me, so I'd be very happy to pass that along. And another thing is buy used gear. It's like a great way to get into the hobby. You can't go wrong. Lots of people get in the hobby and then get back out, and so you can get lots of great stuff. Just getting into the hobby, like people are constantly selling stuff. I highly recommend buying things on the Facebook Marketplace group, FPV Marketplace, and it's an excellent way to get into the hobby with some new stuff. I also recommend buying stuff from Get FPV or Pyrodrone, and then Atom RC. I also, some of these links here and some of my Amazon links are also for, affiliate links. So if you use those, please support the channel. So moving on, drones that I like. So I already talked about the Emacs, Nano Scout, all these tiny whoops. Great way to get started. I think everyone should own a tiny whoop. It's a great way to get going. The 2 to 3 inch is kind of the next step up in bigger sizes. I have this is almost a 2-inch drone, and then here's my, I have a 3-inch. This is a Darwin FPV Baby Ape 3-inch. So this is a really fun little size class to fly in. They can really rip around. It's like the perfect kind of like park flyers. Whereas tiny whoops are great, excellent inside, an excellent kind of backyard and stuff like that. But once you like get a little bit better at flying, 2 to 3S and 2 to 3-inch drones are super fun. If I was starting out, I got a good deal on this one, which is kind of why I have the Baby Ape 3-inch, which is awesome. If I was starting out from scratch in this category, I think I would get a Mobula 8, which is an awesome little drone. Seems like a lot of fun to fly. Great little drone there. Highly recommend it. And then next, the FPV Pabo 20 is a drone that I've owned, and I liked it a lot. I ended up getting rid of it because I just had other drones that I was flying more. But this is an awesome little drone. This one does not come with a video transmitter installed. This one's set up to go with the DJI 04 Air Unit Pro. The only downside to this drone is it's not an analog drone, so you won't be able to fly this analog. I'm pretty sure you have to do a digital system with that. So I think you could use HD0 Walksnail or DJI with that one. I've owned a GepRC Cinolog 25, which is an awesome little drone. It was a great cinematic drone. I did some professional work with that one. I've since sold it as I've switched away from DJI, since DJI has been particularly difficult to get in the United States, unfortunately. But was a great little drone. Loved it a lot. I also have heard that I think Darwin FPV recently released the Tiny, which is more of like a 2S kind of 2-inch, maybe 2.5-inch version of this drone, which looks like a lot of fun to fly. There are a lot of great drones in that category. Other drones that I've considered getting, it's kind of fun to get into long range if that's something that you're interested in. A lot of people like the Flywoo Explorer. Flywoo Explorer is a 4-inch drone, and you can put some 1860 batteries on it and fly forever with that thing, which seems like a lot of fun. And then the Recon FPV Recon 3-inch, it runs directly off of a 1860 battery that you just plug in and you can fly. Not going to be great. So 1860s are not going to be great at like freestyle. You have to be kind of gentle with the batteries. So, but like super fun to just kind of cruise around and explore with those types of drones. So it seems like a lot of fun. I haven't tried any of those, but if I was to get in that range. And I'm leaving 5 inches off the list because the only 5-inch I've ever owned was Chimera 5, which I've been happy with, but it's not like I think most people are kind of into like a 6-inch or a 5-inch 6S, like freestyle type of drone, which I have no experience with. So can't really speak to that one. The next category that I'll talk about are some like accessories. So if you're looking for gifts for yourself, these are maybe some ideas, or you already know someone that's in the hobby and it's a great way to like help them just like enjoy their hobby more is by buying them some like accessories and things to go along with the hobby. So a soldering kit is a great way to be able to keep yourself in the flying. You know, if you can either build your own drones or repair your own drones, it's really nice to be able to do that. So this is the exact soldering kit that I use. I've been using it for almost a year now, and it's like really great. It's super budget, but I've been able to do a ton of soldering with it, like no problems at all. So truly, like, I highly recommend this soldering kit. And another idea is get some antennas. So these are some longer antennas, which you can throw in your goggles, and it'll put the antenna above your head, the reception part of the antenna above your head, which is perfect for if you're wanting to fly like all around yourself. That way your head doesn't block the video signal. So that's like a great way to kind of increase your range of your drone. Just be careful. So SMA is going to be for your goggles or a larger drone, and then UFL would be you put that on a smaller drone. And then also kind of on the converse side of that, having some smaller antennas that you can just always keep on your goggles is really convenient. I had a set like that on my DJI goggles, which I got rid of recently, but haven't gotten any for these goggles yet. But something like this would be perfect because you just kind of put them on there, and then you can still stick them in and out of your bag and like not have to take off big antennas, which is like super convenient for just quickly flying around. So a great way to upgrade your setup is get some like little stubby antennas. Propellers, everyone loves propellers. And it's kind of crazy. Propellers will like really change the characteristic of how a drone flies a lot. So I'm always like very excited to try a new type of propeller. So some propellers are really efficient, so you'll fly a long time. Some are kind of slidey, or they're good at freestyle, for example. Some are like have a lot of grip, so you like corner really hard and you can accelerate quickly. And so if you're buying for someone or yourself, it's like, okay, these are some 3-inch propellers. Just buy all the different sizes of 3-inch propellers. They're like $10 for a bag of 12, for example, and just buy all the different types of propellers. Find the size of drone that you have, buy new propellers for it. It's a great way to kind of upgrade, and it really changes your flying experience. It's like a lot of fun to try different propellers. I have built myself a little backpack toolkit. I just kind of built this myself. Got like a little multi-tool in here, got a Swiss Army knife, got Loctite for the screws, a little screwdriver, and some Allen keys. Just kind of, like little SD card poppers, tweezers. This is just like a little like mini Pelican case that I've been using. But this has been like a lifesaver on so many occasions when I'm out in the field, and I'm able to keep myself flying by like screwing in a prop or whatever it may be. Having something you can throw in your backpack is an awesome thing. Obviously mine's custom. I was looking around, and something like this would be a great way to start. You might have to kind of sub out some of the tools, depending on what you need, depending on what you're flying, but a great way to kind of have something in your backpack when you're flying, which is awesome. The SpeedyBee Adapter 3 is a great little, you can do voltage checking on batteries, and you can also like do a little bit of like flight control or beta flight programming with it. And then you can like use it as a 5-volt power for charging like tiny loop batteries, for example. It's an awesome little thing. I had one, but it broke, unfortunately, but a great little thing. Awesome. I highly recommend having one of these. A smoke stopper is another essential for flying FPV. So if you build a drone or you've been doing some work on a drone, plug this in. So you have your battery plug into it, go through the smoke stopper, and then have your drone on the other side. And this thing will short out if you have something wrong with your drone, and it can save you from accidentally, smoking your flight controller, for example. So absolutely recommend one of these. I recently bought a little mic that has this style of connector that I can plug directly into my AVN for my HD0 goggles, so I can kind of record. And I've been thinking about doing some videos where I can kind of like record audio along with how I'm flying, which is kind of a fun little idea. Great way that you can just kind of have your audio and your video all at the same time. Not great quality probably, but great. Next category is some chargers. A lot of people love the Whoop store. If you're flying tiny whoops or any drone, you should understand how batteries work. LiPo batteries need to be treated somewhat carefully. You need to charge them to the right voltage, whether they're high voltage or regular voltage, or just like a regular LiPo. And you need to understand storage voltage, and you need to understand how far you need to discharge your batteries. So treating your batteries carefully will make your experience so much better, and your batteries will last so much longer. With my very first tiny whoop, I didn't understand I just like was storing them like fully charged for days at a time, and I killed my batteries pretty quickly, unfortunately. Thankfully, with tiny whoops, I learned the lesson. They're cheap. You can get new batteries easily, but definitely take care of your batteries. I do not have a whoopster because I mostly use this can kind of get me by on everything. So I bought this Tenergy. This is about as budget as you can get for a LiPo charger. It can do LiPo and some other types of batteries as well. I got it with a parallel charging board, so I can parallel charge multiple batteries at the same time. Parallel charging can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, so do your own research, but I haven't had any problems, and this charger has been great for me, and I use it every day. So parallel charger with a charging board. Another thing that you can do is get a nice backpack. This is the backpack that Joshua Bardwell recommends, and I think having a dedicated drone backpack seems like a pretty sweet idea. You can like really nicely store all your equipment in there and everything. I also found some super budget version if you're just kind of like looking for something small that's like maybe a little bit less bells and whistles with it. I personally just use an old like little baby diaper backpack. But it works great for me, and I've been super happy with it. It's got all the pockets that I need, and I just got it used. So a great way to go with that if you're looking for on a budget. Other gifts that you can get for yourself or for your loved one are some batteries. Everybody loves batteries. It's kind of like propellers. It's fun to try different sizes of batteries. You can get bigger batteries, give you longer flight times, but maybe a little less agile. Maybe get smaller batteries that can you can do lots of fun freestyle with, but maybe you won't be able to fly as long. So trying different sizes of batteries is super fun. You just got to match the battery voltage to your drone. So if you're buying a tiny whoop, you almost always have to do 1S batteries. But for example, some of the larger drones like this one can handle 2 and 3S batteries, and it'll fly on both. So it's kind of fun to experiment with different sizes of batteries. I can kind of like charge up and fly what I'm feeling like. Oh, I feel like cruising around for a while, or something like that. This drone will fly on 1 and 2S batteries, and so kind of like very docile and gentle flying on 1S, and then if I want to rip around, I'll fly on 2S. Super fun. Lots of people like to make lithium-ion packs for the batteries. Those are great for long range and cruising, not for freestyle. And then obviously LiPos for what you're for when you're flying around fast. Another great thing to have, and it's a lot of fun to have, is RunCam or action cameras. I've been using the RunCam Thumb 2, and I've done some professional work with this camera, and it's been working pretty well for me. For example, the video on this video on my website was taken with the RunCam Thumb 2. In my opinion, it's almost as good quality as like DJI-03, maybe about the same as DJI-03, just a little bit trickier to use because you can't, you just have to know your settings a little bit better. So it takes some fiddling to get around, but if you're flying analog and want to throw like a nice HD recorder on there, this one's super lightweight, and I've been very happy with it. I'm definitely keeping mine, and I'm continuing to use it. So highly recommend that. If you're looking for an upgrade, this one is on my Christmas list this year. The DJI Osmo Nano seems like an awesome little FPV action camera. I think it's only like 50 grams if you just strap on the battery part, which seems awesome. And I'm really excited to get this one. I think it's going to be a great quality camera. Get it with some ND filters as well. That goes for the RunCam Thumb as well, or any action camera. Get it with some ND filters. It'll help you keep your shutter low to get that like cinematic feel for your drones and for your flying. So I'm excited to try this one out. I think I'm going to highly recommend it. And the only thing about the Nano, the thing that I like about the RunCam Thumb 2 is its battery. You can run it directly off of the your drone battery, so you never have to worry about powering it or recharging it. The Osmo Nano has a built-in battery, so you can only fly for, I think, maybe 20 minutes at a time, and then you have to stop and recharge it, which is a bit of a downside. For example, if you're trying to do commercial work all day long, you wouldn't be able to use the Osmo Nano. But if you're just doing quick things here and there, it's perfect for that. Another super fun thing, most specifically for tiny whoops, in my experience, getting some race gates. These are super fun to fly around the house with. And then you can also buy some, build some PVC race gates and participate in something like Race Scow or iGow. If you don't know what those are, super fun. You should definitely check them out. Run by Dan Zagano, FPV Skittles. And he does giveaways. Race Scow is going on right now, late 2025. And then iGow goes on usually over the spring and summer, I think. So definitely check those out. Super fun. Next category, I'm going to skip to the cinematic photography drones, and I'm going to save FPV wings for last because FPV wings are super exciting. The cinematic and photography drones I'm not as experienced with. I've owned a DJI FPV, which is like kind of a hybrid of that and an FPV drone. Without a doubt, DJI makes the best quality in this category, but unfortunately in the US, they're kind of hard to come by, and it's possible that they're going to be, bans are possible. It's a little bit unclear here. So do your own research here. But if I was to start out and was just getting a little like non-FPV, and I just wanted to get some awesome cinematic photos and videos, a lot of people love the DJI Mini series. If you want to have some more money, maybe the DJI Mavic. People also love the DJI Neo. And what's fun about this one is you can buy just the drone, which I think you can control from your phone, or if you're like, wanting to do kind of the whole FPV experience, you get the drone with a controller and goggles. So you can kind of do whatever you want with that. It seems like the Neo is an awesome little drone. The thing that's great about DJI drones, at least I can speak from this personally, is they're very like, they hold your hand as you're getting used to FPV, which is really nice. They have sensors on board. They have like excellent like stabilization, and they'll kind of almost fly themselves for you, which is so nice. Not really true FPV, but still it's fun. Drones are fun. So I think I'm not going to like gatekeep, oh, you have to buy like a super hard like FPV drone. These drones are super fun too. I had a great time with my DJI FPV. I moved on because I really enjoyed like the FPV like immersive experience of things, but super fun. I've heard good things about the Hover Air. I've also heard good things about the Potensic Atom. These are kind of like DJI alternatives, which are maybe more available. Kind of hard to say. I think that you'll find if you got one of these two, you'd have a good experience and it'd be really fun. You wouldn't get as good video quality as you would out of DJI, but that's okay. If you're just in it for the fun, that's great. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about some fixed wings, which I've been dabbling in a lot recently. Fixed wings are tricky. They're difficult to build and fly, a little bit more like difficult than FPV drones, but they are really fun. I'd like to think of it as like drones are fun, and the FPV wings are like they have like lots of like character, and they're like you gotta like kind of massage them to get them flying right. But they're super fun once you get them going. I have personally owned a Hewing Ranger T1. Actually, I'm gonna back up a little bit. So you can get wings in kit versions, which means you just get the foam, and then you have to buy all your own electronics, and you have to install them and build them yourself. You can get P&P versions, which means plug and play, where kind of all the like servos and motors are installed or are like usually in the kit for you. You might have to build them yourself. And then sometimes you can get like a ready to fly, return to home, which that means it includes like a flight controller. So wings are just like a little bit more complicated because some people, so for example, and this one is a P&P, so that means it'll come with the motors and the servos, but it's not gonna have a flight controller. So if you wanna fly it kind of manually, great. Or if you wanna buy a flight controller and install iNav, kind of learn that process, which is super fun. You can do a lot of really cool things with iNav, such as like waypoints and return to home and GPS, all this stuff, loiter and cruise, auto launch, which is really nice. I installed a flight controller when I had the Hewing Ranger T1. Great way to go, especially for beginners. It's really nice to have iNav kind of helping you out as you're flying. But so you'd have to buy this $150 kit, and it's not going to come with an FPV system, so you have to buy an FPV system, and you'll have to buy your flight controller and program that and plug it up yourself if you're interested. Or you can just buy the wing, install a receiver, and then you're ready to fly. Another beginner drone that I haven't owned but have heard great things about is the Zod Drift. This one's a little bit smaller, a little bit cheaper. Should be great to fly around on a calm cruise day, but again, a little bit smaller, so maybe you'll get tossed around by the wind a little bit. I've also have not owned, but have heavily considered getting some Atom RC fixed wings. I think it seems like they make some of the best fixed wings. I've heard great things about, I think the Dolphin Pro I've heard mixed reviews about it. So some people say it's not better than the original Dolphin. But I've heard great things about the Dolphin if you're interested in kind of flying fast. I think this one's like not as beginner friendly. I was getting a little ahead of myself. Let me do the beginner friendly ones first. So if I was to start out and I wanted a small plane, kind of like quickly throw like almost in your bag and then fly, you can get this little guy, smaller wing, and you won't be able to like do long range with it or anything, I think, but it'd be super fun park flyer. You can get it ready to go, or you can get this one ready to go even with the FPV system installed. I think you just wouldn't have a flight controller with this one, but I don't even know if you'd need a flight controller. It's kind of small enough. And then the Swordfish is another great way to go. The Atom RC Swordfish. This is kind of the bigger version. This one I imagine you'd be able to like fly pretty far with it. This is like I imagine very stable and like super easy flyer once you get it in the air. Very like cruisy. And then yeah, so if you're kind of starting out, you might want to start out with something that's kind of like easy to fly and cruisy. But if you're interested in kind of flying fast and really experiencing like lots of like maybe you do like long range with it or kind of just rip around. The drone or the FPV wing that is on my Christmas list this year is the Zod Dart. I'm really excited to try this one out. It seems like a little bit difficult to fly, but it seems like I like that it's smaller, so you can kind of like store it and carry it easily and then kind of rip around with it. I'm really excited to give it a try. Maybe not as beginner friendly, but I think super fun. And then, yeah, I was already talking about the Dolphins. Atom RC has some excellent, more like kind of faster flyers, maybe not quite as easy to get going as some of the, gentler, like more traditional style fixed wings. But I've heard great things about the Atom RC Penguin as well. I almost went for this one instead of the Dart, but I went with the Dart because it's just a little bit smaller and it's also sub 250G, which is nice for where I. And then also heard great things about the Strix Nano Goblin. This one you would kind of have to do a little bit of building yourself, but it's like a tiny little drone. And lots of people like to put, I think, a 2S lithium ion pack in there, and you can fly forever on that thing. It's just a little like skyrocket, super fun. So yeah, I hope this was a great experience for you guys. I love flying FPV drones, and I hope that you guys can enjoy getting into the hobby with me. Like I said earlier, feel free to use any of my affiliate links, and shoot me emails if you have shoot me an email if you have any questions. And hope to see you in the air.